The sun hung low in the sky, a heavy orange circle pressing against the endless fields of the west. Dust clouds rose as the stagecoach wheels screeched and dragged to a stop in front of the large wooden gates of Hawthorne Ranch. The air was hot, and the wind smelled like hay and old memories. A woman stepped down slowly, her white dress wrinkled from travel. She held a small suitcase in one hand and her veil in the other. Her eyes darted around nervously. Her name was Evelyn Cole, though no one here knew it. She cleared her throat, unsure if she was supposed to be excited or terrified. She had traveled for days to reach her new life, but now that she stood on this land, something felt wrong. She looked down at the envelope in her hand. The handwriting read clearly: Red Creek Ranch, Bloomsbury County. This place, however, had a sign carved into the gates with bold letters: Hawthorne Ranch, EST 1894. Her heart dropped. This cannot be right, she whispered to herself. Ahead, ranch hands paused in the middle of stacking hay. Tools froze in the air. Horses pulled at their reins and stomped the dirt, restless with the tension that arrived with her. The ranch seemed shocked, as if this stranger had stepped directly into a locked memory rather than through a gate. From the stable, a tall man with a stern jaw wiped his hands on his shirt and started walking toward her. Every footstep sounded like judgment in the quiet evening air. Evelyn tried to smile, but her voice cracked. I believe there has been a mistake. I was sent here by accident. Before she could finish, the heavy ranch doors swung open. A little girl, no older than 8, peeked out. She wore a faded blue dress and boots that looked 2 sizes too big. Her hair was tied in 2 loose braids, and in her arms she carried a stuffed lamb, missing one button eye. Her name was Lily. Lily stared at Evelyn like she was looking at a ghost. Her mouth opened slightly, and her little chest rose and fell like she was scared to breathe. Evelyn offered a gentle smile, trying to seem friendly, but Lily didn't move. The ranch hands avoided eye contact, some whispering under their breath. Evelyn swallowed hard. She lifted her suitcase and tried to step back toward the stagecoach. I am sorry to disturb your peace. The driver must have taken the wrong turn. I will go back at once. But the coachman, now checking the wheels, shouted, Ma'am, the axle's cracked. Can't take you anywhere until morning. Panic rose in Evelyn's throat. She didn't want to stay where she didn't belong. She already knew what rejection felt like. She had just left a life where she was never truly wanted, never truly chosen. She thought she was escaping it, but now here she was, unwanted in a new place too. The tall man reached her, his voice deep and guarded. You got business here? No, she answered quickly. I mean yes, or at least I thought I did. But clearly not. I'm meant to marry someone at Red Creek Ranch. This was a misunderstanding. A silence fell over them. Even the wind slowed as if listening. Then, something unexpected happened. Little Lily dropped her stuffed lamb and ran to Evelyn. She stopped just inches from her, raised her small face, and whispered, voice trembling with emotion. God finally sent you to us. The world seemed to stop moving. The ranch hands froze. The tall man blinked hard, like he wasn't sure he heard correctly. Evelyn felt her chest tighten. She had no idea what to say. She had never been spoken to with such certainty, such belief. Lily's eyes were glassy with tears she hadn't cried yet. They were the eyes of someone who had lost too much for her age. Evelyn wanted to kneel, to hug her, to ask why she said that, but it felt too personal, too fragile. She couldn't step into the space of someone else's grief. I'm not who you think I am, Evelyn said softly. I'm not here to save anyone. But Lily didn't step back. She held Evelyn's hand like it was a lifeline. Maybe you don't know it yet, Lily whispered. But you are. The tall man cleared his throat, breaking the moment. Lily, he said sternly, but not unkindly. Let the lady breathe. Lily only squeezed Evelyn's hand once more before releasing it. Evelyn looked around, trapped between the carriage that couldn't take her away and the ranch that might not want her. The gate behind her creaked in the wind, like a doorway that refused to close. She suddenly understood. Accident or not, this moment was changing something. And she didn't know if she should run from it or step inside. Evelyn's hand still tingled where the little girl had touched it. The words hung in the air like smoke that refused to fade. God finally sent you to us. She looked down at Lily, who now stood silently, eyes lowered like she regretted speaking so boldly. The tall man, Jacob Hawthorne, owner of the ranch, placed a protective hand on Lily's shoulder. His posture was stiff, like a man used to carrying the weight of a home on his own back. "Ma'am," Jacob said calmly, though his voice trembled at the edges. "Whatever brought you here, we can help you get where you need to be. You don't owe us anything." Evelyn nodded. His kindness made her chest ache. She wasn't used to gentle voices. She wasn't used to anyone offering help without wanting something in return. A ranch hand rolled the broken wheel off the coach, confirming Evelyn's fate for the night. The driver apologized, tipping his hat. "Till tomorrow, miss. Ain't safe to travel without repairs." Then he disappeared into the barn. Lily took a step toward Evelyn again. She was small, but her quiet presence felt strong. Almost spiritual. Like faith wrapped in skin and bone. "Come inside," Lily said politely, not looking at her father. "It's getting cold." Evelyn hesitated. She could feel every pair of eyes watching her, waiting for her answer. She didn't want to be a burden. She didn't want to be mistaken for something she wasn't. But the wind had grown sharper, and night was coming fast. Jacob finally spoke again. "We can give you a room in the guest house. Just for the night. No expectations." Evelyn swallowed and nodded. "Thank you. I won't cause trouble." Lily's face brightened just a little. Not a full smile, but enough to show hope's first spark. As they walked through the yard, Evelyn noticed pieces of the ranch that didn't match the strong front they tried to show. A broken fence not yet mended. A stable door hanging crooked. Fields that used to be rich with crops now nearly empty. The ranch was hurting. Just like her. Inside, the house smelled of wood smoke and rosemary. Portraits lined the walls, most of them of Lily and a woman with warm eyes. Evelyn didn't need to ask. She saw the absence like a shadow. Lily's mother was gone. The ranch felt like a breath held too long, waiting for someone to exhale. Lily guided Evelyn to the kitchen table. "Sit," she said softly, then scampered away to fetch a glass of water. Her small boots echoed down the hallway. Jacob leaned against the counter. "My daughter, she doesn't always speak like that. About God sending someone." Evelyn stared into her water. She didn't know what to do with that information. "Children see things adults ignore," she finally said. She meant it. Jacob's jaw tensed. "She's been praying for answers. Healing." He looked away. "She thinks you're one." Evelyn froze. She wasn't sure if she should feel honored or terrified. "I'm not a miracle," she whispered. Jacob met her eyes. "You don't need to be." Their conversation ended when Lily returned, now carrying a blanket. She placed it on Evelyn's lap as if it was a crown. The little girl's voice shook with sincerity. "You can stay forever if you want." Jacob shut his eyes. "Lily." "It's okay," Evelyn said quickly. She placed the blanket beside her. "One night is already more kindness than I deserve." Lily blinked. "Everyone deserves kindness." Evelyn felt tears sting her eyes. She looked away, pretending to study the pattern of the table. Hours passed. Night wrapped the ranch in silence. Evelyn sat near the guest house window, unable to sleep. She replayed the whisper over and over. "God finally sent you to us." She wasn't used to being wanted. She was used to being delivered like a package, chosen for convenience, not affection. Her past engagement felt like a business deal she wasn't allowed to refuse. She thought she was escaping humiliation, but part of her feared she had just traded one mistake for another. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. "Miss Evelyn?" Lily's small voice. Evelyn opened the door. The girl stood there with her stuffed lamb in her arms. "I wanted to say good night," Lily said shyly. "And I'm glad you came. Even if it was wrong. Evelyn kneeled, gently brushing a strand of hair from Lily's face. Maybe, she said. Sometimes wrong places lead us to right moments. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Not sad tears, relieved ones. She nodded and hugged her stuffed lamb tighter. Good night, Lily whispered. But before she turned to leave, she added, If you leave tomorrow, can I still believe God hears me? The question hit Evelyn harder than anything said before. She didn't answer right away. She couldn't. She watched Lily walk away, her little boots echoing like prayer. Evelyn shut the door and leaned back, heart pounding. For the first time in years, she felt something unfamiliar. Not fear. Not rejection. Something like purpose. And she didn't know if she was ready for it. Morning broke slowly over Hawthorne Ranch, like a shy visitor unsure if it was welcome. Thin sunlight crept across the land, touching cracked fences and dusty windows, trying to bring warmth where cold memories lived. Evelyn awoke to the sound of soft humming, an innocent tune floating through the guest house window. She slipped from the bed, smoothed her wrinkled dress, and stepped outside. The air was crisp, smelling of smoke and earth. In the distance, she saw Lily sitting on the porch steps, humming and brushing her stuffed lamb's wool with a tiny comb. When Lily noticed her, she stopped humming immediately, like she had been caught hoping too loudly. Good morning, Evelyn said gently. Lily nodded. I didn't want to bother you. Daddy says guests need quiet. You're not bothering me, Evelyn replied. Your song was nice. Lily seemed to grow taller with those words, her shoulders relaxing. Mama used to sing it, she whispered, before she got sick. Evelyn's breath caught. She sat beside her, leaving just enough space so the child wouldn't feel crowded. The porch would creak beneath them, sounding like old secrets shifting. What was she like? Evelyn asked, voice soft, careful. Lily smiled sadly. She laughed a lot, even when it hurt. She said joy is medicine. She hugged her lamb. After she went to heaven, nobody laughed. Daddy tries, but his smile gets stuck. Evelyn's heart twisted. She didn't know how to answer, so she simply listened. Inside the house, Jacob watched from a distance. He stood in the doorway, arms crossed, not in anger, but in fear. Fear of hope. Fear of expecting too much from someone who didn't owe them anything. He saw Lily speaking to Evelyn, and something in his chest ached. The way Lily leaned forward, the way she trusted so quickly. It terrified him. Hope was a dangerous thing to give a child, especially one who had already lost too much. Evelyn noticed him and nodded politely. He nodded back, his jaw tight. The silence between them wasn't rude, it was heavy, like two worlds learning how to breathe in the same air. Breakfast is ready, Jacob finally said, voice rough like gravel. If you're hungry. Evelyn stood and thanked him. Lily rushed ahead, excited to show her where everything was. The kitchen table was laid out simply, eggs, biscuits, and jam. But something about it felt special, like it had been prepared with effort rather than habit. As they ate, Evelyn tried to explain her situation. My coach will be repaired today, she said. I'll be on my way soon. Lily's fork froze in midair. She didn't look up, but her breathing changed. Jacob noticed immediately. You don't owe us an explanation, he said. Our trouble isn't your burden. Evelyn nodded, but her mind churned. The words trouble and burden felt like old friends she didn't ask to see again. Lily finally looked up, her eyes big and wet. Will you send letters? The question shattered the air. Evelyn swallowed hard. I don't know where I'll be. Red Creek Ranch, Lily whispered, voice trembling. That's where they're waiting for you to be married, right? Evelyn flinched. Yes, she said quietly. But it's not what I wanted. I was agreed upon. Not asked? She stared at her plate. Sometimes being chosen feels like being trapped. Jacob looked at her, surprise flashing in his eyes. Not judgment, recognition. Like her words hit a memory he tried not to remember. The rest of the day passed in fragments. Evelyn watched Lily feed chickens, her laughter drifting like sunlight. She helped mend a small fence, her hands learning the rhythm of ranch life. She listened to the creak of wagon wheels, the snort of horses, the distant echo of a family trying to rebuild itself without a piece that mattered. She also saw the gaps where Lily's mother should be. A cold teacup left untouched on a shelf. A pair of boots by the back door still polished. A photograph half hidden behind a lamp, as if looking at it hurt too much. Lily showed her a small garden with wilted roses. "Mama called it a promise garden," she said. "She said everything that dies comes back different. Not the same, but still a gift." Evelyn knelt and touched the soil. Something fragile, buried deep, stirred inside her. She didn't know if it was hope or fear. Maybe both. As the sun began to set, glowing fierce red behind the barns, the ranch felt like a heart beating again after a long sleep. Lily tugged Evelyn's sleeve. "You're like our missing piece," she said simply. "Like the part of the puzzle Daddy couldn't find." Evelyn shook her head. "I don't belong here." Lily looked up at her, eyes shining. "Maybe belonging isn't about being planned. Maybe it's about being needed." The wind stopped. The ranch held its breath. Evelyn blinked back tears. She had never been needed before, not like this. Not as a balm, a comfort, a person whose arrival meant something. A stagecoach wheel clattered from the barn, a cruel reminder that morning would take her away. She turned toward the ranch house, her voice barely above a whisper. "I wish I knew what choice to make." But no answer came. Only the fading light. Only the ache of a missing piece. Night arrived early, wrapping the ranch in a blanket of cool darkness. Crickets sang in the grass, and the lanterns flickered inside the house like nervous hearts. Evelyn sat alone in the guest house, staring at her hands. They trembled without her permission. She tried to steady them, but memories came fast and sharp. Being unwanted hurt. Being used hurt more. Her past sat beside her like an uninvited ghost. A soft knock pulled her out of her thoughts. Jacob stood at the doorway, hat in hand. "May I?" he asked. Evelyn nodded. He stepped inside, not crossing too far. He stayed near the wall, as if afraid of taking up too much space. "The driver will have the coach ready by morning," Jacob said. "I just thought you should know." Evelyn nodded again. "Thank you." Silence stretched between them like an old bridge, weak, uncertain, but standing. Jacob cleared his throat. "Lily thinks you're an answer to her prayers. That's a heavy thing to put on someone." Evelyn laughed softly, but there was no joy in it. "I've never been anyone's answer before." Jacob leaned back against the wall. "Why were you traveling alone? If it's all right to ask." Evelyn hesitated. She had spent years keeping her suffering quiet, folding her pain into polite smiles. But something about the ranch, its broken fences, its cracked windows, its quiet grief, felt familiar. It felt safe enough to speak. "I was engaged," she said. "To a man I barely knew. My family arranged it. He is wealthy. Influential. He needed a wife like other men need another horse or another acre of land." Her voice wavered. "Not a partner. Not a friend. A symbol." Jacob's jaw tightened, not in anger at her, but at the idea of someone treating her like property. "They sent me there like I was a gift to be delivered," she continued. "No choice. No question. Just go." She swallowed. "On the way, someone changed the route. I still don't know how I ended up at the wrong ranch. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe I truly am a mistake." Jacob shook his head. "I don't believe people are mistakes." His voice was low but steady. Evelyn looked at him, surprised. "Then what are they? When they don't fit anywhere?" He stared out the window, eyes distant. "Maybe they're arrivals. Not planned, but needed." Evelyn felt something inside her shift. Like a locked door creaking open. Outside, small footsteps approached. Lily stood in the doorway, hugging her stuffed lamb clothes. "Daddy?" she asked softly. Is she leaving tomorrow? Jacob exhaled slowly. Yes, sweetheart. The coach will take Miss Evelyn to her real destination. Lily's eyes filled instantly. Tears gathered but didn't fall yet. She looked at Evelyn, voice shaking. Did we do something wrong? The question stabbed the room open, raw and honest. Evelyn rushed to kneel in front of her. No. Never. You have been the kindest soul I've met. You did everything right. But you still have to go, Lily whispered, fingers twisting the lamb's ear. Doesn't kindness make people stay? Evelyn felt her heart crack. Sometimes life pulls us in directions we don't choose. I don't want to hurt you. Lily took a shaky breath. Mama used to say that broken things can grow again if someone is gentle with them. She looked down. Are you broken, Miss Evelyn? The question was not cruel. It was understanding. Evelyn closed her eyes. A tear slipped free. Yes. I think I am. Lily reached out and held her hand carefully, like touching a butterfly's wing. Then it's okay. We know how to take care of broken things. Jacob looked away, overwhelmed. He wiped his eyes before anyone could see. Later, Evelyn stepped outside to breathe. The stars were bright, so many stars, more than she'd ever seen. She felt tiny beneath them, but not invisible. Just small in a world too big to understand. She whispered to the night. I don't know where I belong. I don't know where home is. The wind answered by lifting her hair gently, as if comforting her. Behind her, Lily's voice floated from the doorway, tired and honest. Maybe home isn't a place. Maybe it's the people who wait for you to come back. Evelyn turned. Lily stood there in her nightgown, eyes heavy with sleep. She spoke one last sentence before retreating inside. If tomorrow takes you away, I'll still pray that God brings you back. Evelyn didn't answer. She couldn't. She stayed under the stars a long time, feeling the weight of her past on one side, and the pull of this strange new hope on the other. For the first time in her life, she didn't know which direction was escape, and which was salvation. Dawn arrived with pale light and the smell of rain in the air. The sky looked bruised, clouds hanging low like sorrow waiting to fall. Evelyn stepped out of the guest house and saw that the ranch was already awake. Workers hurried across the yard. Horses paced nervously. Something heavy was coming, whether or fate, she didn't know. Lily spotted her immediately. The little girl ran over, her braids flying behind her. You're up, she said, as if this small fact was a gift. I am, Evelyn answered, smiling just a little. It's a busy morning. Every morning is busy, Lily said. But today feels different. Does today feel like goodbye? The question floated between them, painful and soft. Evelyn couldn't answer. She looked at the barn instead, pretending to count hay bales. Jacob was inside, checking saddles and reins. When he saw Evelyn, he lifted a hand in greeting. She returned the gesture, her stomach twisting. There was kindness in his eyes, but also walls built to protect what little remained of his heart. Breakfast was quiet. Evelyn helped slice bread while Lily fetched jars of jam from the pantry. Jacob cooked eggs in a cast iron skillet, the sizzle filling the silence they didn't know how to break. The table creaked when they sat. The air felt like something unsaid was sitting with them. Halfway through the meal, Lily looked up. Miss Evelyn, can you stay for my birthday? She asked, voice gentle, almost fearful. It's next week. I'll be 9. I made a wish you'd be here. Evelyn froze. Her fork slipped from her hand and clattered against the plate. Lily, Jacob said softly, wishes aren't promises. But they can be, Lily insisted. If someone wants them to be. Evelyn's eyes burned. She picked up her fork again, though she couldn't eat. I don't know what will happen, she said honestly. But if I could, I would like to see you turn 9. Lily's face glowed. Not with a full smile, but with something more fragile, hope carefully waking up. After breakfast, Evelyn helped Lily feed the animals. The child stuck to her side like a shadow that refused to be abandoned. She asked questions that were simple but cut deeper than she realized. Do you like my home? Did your parents love you? Do you think prayers have a shape? Evelyn answered as best as she could. Sometimes with words. Sometimes with silence. In the chicken coop, Lily suddenly said, I don't remember Mama's voice anymore. Evelyn looked up sharply. Lily stared at the hens, eyes glazed. I try, but it's like my brain pushed her voice away to make room for sadness. Is that bad? Am I forgetting her? No, Evelyn said quickly. She knelt and took Lily's small hand. Sometimes our minds protect us. The love stays, even when the memory fades a little. Love is louder than voices. Lily blinked up at her. That sounds like something Mama would say. The compliment hit Evelyn harder than expected. Later, while fixing a loose hinge on the gate, Evelyn felt someone watching her. She turned. Jacob stood a few feet away, hands in his pockets. You're good with her, he said. I'm trying, Evelyn answered. That's more than most. There was a long pause, then Jacob spoke again. My daughter hasn't followed anyone around this close since. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The name Lily's mother hovered in the silence. Evelyn glanced at him. I don't want to replace her. I couldn't. Jacob nodded. No one could. But Lily isn't asking for another mother. He exhaled, voice low. She's asking for someone who doesn't leave. Evelyn flinched, like the words were a bruise she already had. I'm not sure I know how to stay, she confessed. I've only ever been told where to go. Never asked? Jacob looked at her with an expression that wasn't pity, wasn't expectation, just recognition, like he understood the shape of her wounds. We don't expect you to stay, he said. But for however long you're here, you matter. The wind carried his words away, but they stayed with Evelyn. That evening, the sky darkened. Thunder rolled in the distance. Storm clouds gathered like soldiers preparing to march. Lily clung to Evelyn's arm. Storms scare me, she whispered. They sound like the world breaking. Evelyn wrapped an arm around her shoulders, not like a replacement, but like a shelter. Storms pass, she murmured. They always do. Even the loud ones. Lily breathed slowly, trying to believe her. Evelyn looked out across the ranch. The land was imperfect. The family was fractured. And yet, something about this place made her feel like she could breathe for the first time. Maybe belonging wasn't a place you were assigned. Maybe it was a place you grew into. Like a seed in cracked soil, learning to bloom. Far off, the repaired stagecoach wheel glinted beside the barn. A reminder. A threat. A question. Tomorrow, she would have to choose. Lily tightened her grip and whispered, aching and honest. Please don't go. Evelyn didn't answer. She couldn't. Because for the first time in her life, she didn't know if leaving was the right thing to do. Or the cowardly thing. By afternoon, the sky was an angry gray, rumbling like a giant waking up. The wind tore across Hawthorne Ranch, rattling windows and slamming shutters like fists demanding entry. Evelyn stood on the porch, clutching the railing, her heartbeat matching the storm's rhythm. The stagecoach was ready. Fixed. Waiting. The driver sat inside the barn to avoid the rain, but even from here Evelyn could see the polished wheel gleaming like a reminder carved in metal. You don't belong here. You leave today. Thunder cracked like a whip in the sky. Inside, the ranch prepared. Workers rushed to tie down equipment. Animals sensed the danger and cried out, hooves kicking against the ground. The storm wasn't waiting. It was coming now, teeth bared. Jacob appeared at Evelyn's side, rain in his hair and worry in his eyes. We need to bring the horses inside, he shouted over the wind. Storm's too strong. They'll panic. Before she could think, Evelyn pulled off her shoes and ran with him, her feet wet with mud and fear. She didn't know why she followed. Instinct, maybe? Or something deeper. Something that felt like the opposite of running away. In the pasture, chaos ruled. A gate had blown open. 3 horses bolted for the tree line at full speed, lightning flashing behind them like a threat. Lily stood frozen at the fence line, drenched, eyes wide with terror. "Daddy!" she cried. Jacob sprinted toward her. Evelyn followed, rain slashing at her face. "Lily, back inside!" Jacob ordered. But Lily shook her head violently. "I can't! Mama always helped during storms. Someone needs to do what she did." Her voice cracked. The storm swallowed the sound. Evelyn knelt, gripping Lily's shoulders. "You don't have to replace her. You don't have to be brave like her. You just have to be safe." Lily trembled. "I'm scared." "So am I," Evelyn confessed. "But we do it together anyway." For a moment, Lily's fear softened. She nodded, finally allowing Evelyn to guide her to the porch. Back in the pasture, Jacob and a ranch hand tried to corral the runaway horses. Lightning struck a tree nearby, the sound exploding like a cannon. One horse veered straight toward the broken fence, sharp splinters ready to tear skin and muscle. Without thinking, Evelyn grabbed a rope and ran, mud sucking at her feet. "Are you crazy?" a ranch hand yelled. Maybe she was. But she knew broken things. She knew what it meant to be scared and trapped. She knew how hopelessness felt like a fence closing in. She swung the rope, clumsy but determined. The terrified horse skidded, eyes wild, and for a second Evelyn saw herself in its panic. "It's okay," she whispered. "You're not alone. Breathe." The horse slowed, panting. Enough for Jacob to get close and take control. They guided the animal inside the stable just as the first wave of heavy rain crashed down like buckets from the sky. The storm swallowed the world. Inside the stable, thunder boomed. Horses stomped. Lily cried in the doorway, hands over her ears. Evelyn rushed to her, scooping the little girl into her arms. "It's just noise," Evelyn soothed. "Loud, but not forever." Lily clung to her like a lifeline. Then she whispered, voice barely audible over the rain. "You saved us. You saved Daddy." Evelyn shook her head. "I just helped." "That's what saving is," Lily argued. "Helping someone who can't do it alone." Jacob approached, breathing hard, soaked to the bone. He looked at Evelyn, not with gratitude that demanded anything, but with something gentler. Something like seeing a piece of the puzzle you didn't know was missing. "You didn't have to do any of that," he said quietly. "I know," Evelyn replied. "But I wanted to." Jacob nodded. "That's what makes it matter." The storm raged for hours. Evelyn stayed with Lily in the stable, humming to distract her, an off-key tune, but warm. Lily slowly relaxed, her head on Evelyn's shoulder. Rain drummed against the roof like a heartbeat. At some point, Lily spoke again, eyes half closed. "Do you think the wrong road can be the right one if you walk it long enough?" Evelyn paused. She thought of the carriage that took her away from everything she knew. The address that didn't match. The gate that shouldn't have been hers. "I think," she said softly, "that sometimes roads don't matter as much as where you end up standing." "And where are you standing now?" Lily asked. Evelyn looked around the dim stable. The shivering horses. Jacob checking the stalls. The smell of hay and rain. The child holding on to her like she mattered. "I'm standing," she whispered. "Somewhere I didn't know I needed." When the storm finally eased, the world outside was broken in places, fallen branches, torn fences, muddy fields, but the ranch still stood. So did Evelyn. And as the last thunder rolled away, she realized something. For the first time, she wasn't thinking about leaving. She was wondering what it would mean to stay. The storm left the ranch smelling like wet soil and new beginnings. Puddles shimmered in the morning light, and the clouds softened into pale cotton drifting across the sky. It felt like the world had been rinsed clean. But Evelyn did not feel clean, she felt torn in half. The stagecoach waited at the gate again, horses restless, steam rising from their bodies in the cold morning air. The driver tipped his hat at her. "Roads are clear now, miss. Best travel while the day's kind." Evelyn nodded but didn't move. Her boots sank in the mud like the ground itself was asking her to stay. She gripped the handle of her suitcase so hard her knuckles paled. Behind her, Hawthorne Ranch buzzed with quiet repairs. Workers hammered new boards to fences. Broken branches became neat piles. The damage had been real, but so was the recovery. That contrast echoed inside Evelyn. Storms don't only break things. Sometimes they show you what's worth saving. Lily appeared first. She stepped out of the house slowly, like each step required permission. Her boots splashed through puddles. The stuffed lamb in her arms was still damp from yesterday. She stopped beside Evelyn, her small voice barely above a whisper. "You said yesterday that storms pass," she said. "They did. But I still feel scared." Evelyn bent slightly, meeting her gaze. "Being scared doesn't make you weak." "Then what makes you weak?" Lily asked. "Leaving before you're ready," Evelyn answered, surprising even herself. Lily bit her lip. "Are you ready?" Evelyn looked at the stagecoach, its wheels shining, its path straightforward and predictable. Then she looked at the ranch, imperfect, unpredictable, but warm in ways she had never known. "I don't know," she admitted. "I've never been ready for anything. I just do what I'm told." Lily's eyes filled, not with tears but with determination. She slipped her tiny hand into Evelyn's. "Then this time," Lily said, "do what you feel." Her hand was small, but the choice inside that gesture was enormous. Jacob approached next, wiping his hands on a cloth. He looked less like a ranch owner today and more like a man learning how to hold his world together with his bare hands. "No one will blame you for going," he said. "Not me. Not this ranch." He paused. "Not even Lily." Lily looked up at him sharply. "I never said that." Jacob exhaled, eyes closing for a second. "Lily," he said gently, "Miss Evelyn is not ours to keep. But maybe she's not theirs either," Lily argued, voice rising. "Maybe she doesn't belong anywhere yet. Maybe she belongs where she chooses." Evelyn's heart pounded. This child spoke truths adults never dared to touch. Jacob turned to Evelyn, his expression steady but wounded. "You helped us through the storm," he said. "But life isn't always storms. Some days are slow. Ordinary. Hard in different ways." His voice lowered. "If you stayed, it wouldn't be to replace anyone. Or to fix us. Just to live alongside us." He did not reach for her. He did not ask her to stay. He simply opened a door made of words. Evelyn had spent her whole life being pushed through doors. This one felt like an invitation. The driver cleared his throat. "Miss? Should I load your things?" The decision crashed into her like lightning, quiet, but world-changing. She thought of the man waiting at Red Creek Ranch, expecting a bride like a prize he had purchased. She imagined exchanging vows with someone who saw her as an investment. She pictured a life spent as a shadow. Then she imagined Lily on her 9th birthday, blowing out candles with someone cheering for her. She imagined learning how to patch fences, feed horses, laugh without apology. She imagined a life where mistakes weren't punishable, they were survivable. She lifted her suitcase. Lily's shoulders sagged. But instead of handing it to the driver, Evelyn turned and walked to the guest house. She set the suitcase just inside the doorway. "I'm not leaving today," she said softly. Lily gasped. The sound was so full of hope it shook the air. Jacob blinked, stunned. "Are you sure?" "No," Evelyn said. "But I'm choosing it anyway." Lily launched forward, not with the force of a hug, not with desperation, but with both arms wrapped around Evelyn's sleeve, as if anchoring herself to the moment. "I'll help you unpack," Lily said immediately. Evelyn laughed, the sound uneven, new. "How about you help me breathe first? One moment at a time?" Lily nodded, eyes shining. "I can do that." Jacob stepped back, letting the choice settle without claiming it. Evelyn looked at them both. "I don't know what tomorrow looks like. But I'd like to see it here. If that's all right." Jacob nodded. "It's more than all right," he said. "It's welcome." The stagecoach driver tipped his hat. Sometimes, he said, the right road ain't the one you started on. Evelyn smiled at him. I think I finally understand that. He climbed onto the coach, the horses trotting away down the road that should have been her future. Evelyn watched it go, feeling the weight of the suitcase leave her shoulders and settle into her heart. Sometimes the bravest choice is the one that doesn't look like victory. Sometimes it just looks like staying.